Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 430. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Did you know 1 out of every 5 students report being bullied? Our next guest has dedicated her life to serving families everywhere and to stamp out bullying as the executive director and founder of Parents Against Bulleying Virginia and CEO of Push Professional Consulting, LLC. Welcome, Shant'a Miller-White.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you want them to know about you and your business?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, again, thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to share with you just who Shant'a Miller-White is, the CEO and founder of Parents Against Bullying and the CEO of Push Consultant, LLC. And Push stands for patience, understanding, stability to handle your business. So back in 2012, one of my twin girls was brutally attacked by her bully, and it turned into an assault where she was kicked in the head for a total of 17 minutes on the school bus. And at that time, if you think back in 2012, we really didn't have a lot of awareness or talks about bullying, period. Once I was able to get my girls stable enough to help out others or wanting to help others not feel left alone or feel alone about something such as that we went through, because it was very hard going through that whole incident. And so I wanted to make sure that I gathered information and helped others to be proactive instead of reactive, even though it's something reactive to what took place with my family. So that was the birth of Parents Against Bullying, then the umbrella of Push Consultant, LLC, to be a consultant to different people, schools, businesses, or so on and so forth, to continue to spread awareness about anti-bullying awareness.
And how is your twins doing now?
They're 22 years old now, and they still have times to where they have triggers, and it still reminds them of different things that happened during that time period of the bullying incident. But with the village and with counseling and things of that nature, they're doing well. They've graduated from one has graduated from college now, and that was in the 6th grade when it took place. So they're one day at a time, each day at a time, something different. That's how I put it.
And you know, Shant'a, I know that it's really interesting when we talk about bullying, and it has really gone to a whole nother level, because Absolutely. I'm much older, and back in the day, and even when I think about things that I did as a kid, it could be under the guise of bullying, just like talking about someone, just having those ugly moments. Of course, you have to repent for that. Just being at what level is an action is really bullying versus you have a moment of ugliness?
Well, first of all, bullying is an unwanted aggressive behavior that's ongoing by one or a group of people. So it's not just a one time that somebody may have done something ugly, and it's no longer the stealing of the lunch money or your lunch itself anymore that it used to be, back in the day, as they say. So like I said, it's ongoing, and it's something that happens ongoingly by one person or a group of persons, not just one incident.
And tell us the different types of bullying.
The different types of bullying is physical, cyber, you have mental, you have social, and that's the basics of it. And cyberbullying has grown so much with this technology that we have. During COVID, it was a rise of 79% rise in cyberbullying. And that's because everyone was home, the kids were home, and it was always an electronic device in their hands. So I always try to tell parents, please, please, please know what your children are doing on these phones, on these tablets, on these computers, on these social media platforms. Be nosy. You must, because you don't want to find out something when it's too late.
And it's interesting. I was on a flight this weekend, and when we talk about the extent of bullying to this family, they had an only child. She looked like she was about 6 or 7 years old, and they were living on the East Coast. and they were actually relocating to Texas because their daughter was bullied, bullying taking place. That's serious, that you can you have to pack up your stuff and leave because of that.
That's what hurts my heart, because of the fact that that happens a lot where people, and it's not a running from, I don't look at it that way. It's a portion of trying to make sure that your child stays safe, and that they know that you're trying your best to protect them in the best way that you know how. And if that means to take them or yourselves or your whole family to a different location, then that's what they're doing. But, not everybody can do that. So that's where we're trying to give them the pieces to know how to advocate and know the different laws in the different states, and knowing how to communicate and advocate for their child so that they won't have to do this thing as far as like moving your whole family. And, they say 55% of the time, the bully will stop when someone intervenes. That's meaning a parent or a bystander, meaning they're no longer the bystander and they stand up against the bully. 55% of the time they stop. That's over half. So we have to continue to stand.
If a parent suspect their child is being bullying someone else, what should they do?
Yes. One is you need to talk to your child about the consequences that they can do to someone else. And if it's something that's happening in school, contact the school and become a team player, like as far as making sure that the other parents have been notified, working together to see what needs to be done to change this. And also make sure that you hold to your consequences of this, because that can turn so many different ways. We have a such thing called bullycide, where the kids are killing themselves because of bullying. Also, 9 out of 10 times when there's a school shooting, if you look back, 9 times out of 10, it comes back that shooter has been bullied. Now, I'm not saying that it's right for them to pick up a gun. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm talking about the root of the problem. A portion of that problem is that they've been bullied. So you have to look at these things, and you have to be reactive to it, getting the help, finding the resources, and connecting. And if you need help, that means counseling or what have you, don't be afraid. It's okay to not be okay, but what do we do to be okay? So that means to get counseling for your child and your family, then do so. Nothing wrong with that, because the worst thing that you want to do is say, I should have, or if I would have. And those things are available at your fingertips all day long.
Now, I don't know if this is accurate, so I want you to clarify. What I'm noticing, it appears that parents are afraid to parent, or is it that it's so many laws that is up against parents that they're having it more difficult to parent?
I'm going to be transparent in answering your question. And that is, in the role that I play outside of the CEO and on my day-to-day job, if people would stop trying to be friends with their children and be a parent. And if you don't know how to parent, because I know there's not a book, but there's some classes that you can go to, some parenting classes, to give you some tools to put in your toolbox to be able to help you. But one is, you should not be equal to each other, and that's your friend. You have to give them what they need. And that's what we're missing. We're missing the grannies and the grandmas that we had back in the day that gave us that foundation of just how to be in a child's space and what a child's supposed to do and what the parent does, setting that foundation for you to move forward when you become an adult. Not that you're an adult now and then I'm going to do adult things with you, like be your friend. So yes, ma'am, they are being the friend and not parenting. As far as the laws, you know how far to go and how and what not to do. Abuse is abuse, and discipline is discipline. So you don't always have to put your hands on someone to discipline them. So there's different things that you can utilize in your parenting skills to make sure that you're disciplining them. But if you don't discipline them, the world is going to discipline them.
What is something that, as a parent, that we don't know about this bullying that we should know?
Well, I will say I'm in the state of Virginia, and I'll say kudos to Virginia, and for a few reasons when it comes down to bullying. One is they're very receptive of listening to organizations such as myself to take a stand together. Virginia was the first state that came together, and what was it? I think it's 2 years ago, the previous governor gave us a day of awareness. It was called Parents Against Bullying, Bully Free Day. So that's a way to say, hey, we know there's something going on, we're going to stand together across Virginia to take a stand on this day. That's number one. Number two, as of July the 1st of 2023, one of the laws was changed here in Virginia when it comes down to bullying and notifying the parents in school. They, at one time, well, previously before July the 1st, schools had 5 days to notify the parents on both sides, whether it was the bully or the person that was being bullied. They had up to 5 days to notify both sides. Now they only have 24 hours. So I will say that things are changing as we are continuing to have a voice, and they're seeing how serious bullying is. And if people would just stop using the word bullying like a piece of loose leaf paper and be serious and acknowledge themselves of what it really is, I think this will be a better place. But that's going to take some time and some day-to-day steps.
And what is on the horizon for your nonprofit? What do you see?
Oh my goodness. My hopes is, well, we're already international, meaning that we help family and children across the globe. But my hopes is that we can grow our programs. Like we have a program that starts from the ages of 4 or 5 years old, a puppet program. It's called our Star Bright Kids. Then we have our mentoring programs, Girl Talk and Gent Talk, for those that are between the ages of 7 to 17. And then we have our reentry programs because of the fact that we go inside of the jails and the detention centers and assist them as well by letting them know how and what skills to use to be an entrepreneur, or whether you want to get into a trade or what have you. Because I feel like when you connect people to resources and give them hope and give them options of things, then they can go day to day in a better spirit. Meaning that, you know, a lot of this bullying is because there's something that they're missing. They may be hungry, or they may not know how to do certain things day to day. So I pray that this organization continues to grow in all stages of our program, where we're globally and able to move with our programs and not just be here in Virginia and not just have to be virtual. We want to be able to see them, touch them, be in the rooms with them. And we want to have more of a horizon of our curriculum. We want to expand our curriculum, and we want to have more books. So I see that's the way that we're going, that we're going to have an expansion on all those levels.
Are the twins involved in the nonprofit at all?
One of the twins is very involved, where it's funny that you asked that. She's like the voiceover for a lot of our puppet program songs and videos and things like that. She's getting ready to have a baby, so we try to take it easy on her. The other one, she's a little bit more laid back, and she used to be involved when she was younger, but she would talk to the kids and kind of share her story, but she's a little bit more reserved. So that one, not too much, just in a distance. She is good on promoting us and saying, yeah, that's good, but she's not too much of the front line person like her mom and her other sister.
Advice you wish you had followed?
Well, if someone would have told me about the different things that really took place on a school bus, because this is, like I said, this is where this happened. And coming from a mom that was an entrepreneur at the time, and I was taking my girls to school. And when this happened, this was the first time they had rode a bus. This was the third week of their first time riding a bus. And if someone would have just told me if I would have listened to people tell me, just keep carpooling your kids, don't put them on a bus. But I thought I was doing the right thing by letting them get more acclimated with their peers and learning how to be more independent and not just mommy dropping them off and picking them up, because I was in middle school. But if I just would have listened to that piece, I felt like I failed as a parent, being able to protect them at a time that I couldn't protect them because I wasn't on the bus, and I could have just been driving them back and forth. But I can't hold that. I can just push forward and help others to know different signs and what to look for, and hopefully be proactive instead of reactive like I push every day.
And what are some signs that a child has if they're being bullied?
Make sure that if your child is a social butterfly or bubbly or talkative, and then all of a sudden they start being like an introvert, and they want an introvert at first, meaning that they go into their rooms, they're not really wanting to be with the family or around people, they kind of want to be by themselves, check into that. If they start talking about they don't feel good and all the time when it's time to go to school, check into that. When you see their grades just slipping, all of their grades or a few of their grades, and then, they're not really talking to you about it, and they're usually talking to you, check into what's going on around them. That's the three that I can think of right off the bat. I have a book that is a guide to combat bullying that has more information and details about, those things. But yes, those are the three that I can think of off the top of my head. That please, please, please pay attention to your children and communicate. Put the phones down and communicate like we used to do. Eat with them a little bit after, after a long day and communicate. You'll find out a lot if you just communicate by mouth, not by text.
And that's a mouthful. That's a mouthful, because if you have not been communicating and all of a sudden you're trying, that's an art in itself. Because back in the day, if parents shift gears, like we're all eating at the table and then now we're not eating at the table, we're going to start talking. You shift. But nowadays, when you're shifting, these kids are like, I'm not ready to shift with you. I don't want to shift with you. I wanted to shift 6 months ago. Talk to us, Shant'a.
Communication, and we say this on so many levels of relationships, communication is the key. Communicating with your children this day and time, because of the fact that there's so much out here that they are exposed to. Social media, different apps. I'll give you one incident. Well, one thing that I can think of right now. There was an app that we thought was a calculator, and that calculator was not a calculator. When you swiped it, it was a hub for sex trafficking, human trafficking, where they are, so you have to be on top of workshops and different things that they have available, talking about social media, just bullying, period, just the different types, like the physical, the cyber, be on top of different things, research it. Google can be your friend. Listen at those schools for the resources that they may have for things that you're like, oh, I don't need that. Yes, you may need that. Because we have to stay on top of it, because it's changing like we're changing clothes every day. So you have to be on top of it so you can know who is connected to your child, who's trying to connect to your child. Because another thing that people don't understand is bullying goes hand in hand with domestic violence. Bullying goes hand in hand with gang violence or gangs, period, because that's just organized bullies. Bullying goes hand in hand with so many different things. You have to be on top of the things that go hand in hand with it, or we're gonna keep losing. And we're losing our babies younger and younger and younger. So please educate yourself, be aware of what's going on, and just stay connected. Stay connected with your family and your youth and your babies.
And that's interesting. You were talking about the different levels and staying apprised to what's happening and who's in their ear, because it goes back to communication. Whoever is in their ear is going to command their attention, and it's going to overtake their mind. That's just like the music that they were talking about. It's some song out about Kill Bill or whatever, and it's been on the chart forever. And the lyrics is just unbelievable. That's saying, my ex-boyfriend, I'm going to kill him and the girl he's with. That is the point. And they were saying because of that, so many young people are listening to this music and committing suicide around that.
And when you say that, the other thing that comes to my mind is a lot of parents, again, are not parenting. They're allowing these games to parent. And what I mean by that is on these games, it's showing you how to kill, how to use a gun. But the thing of it is, when they're on these games, it shows that the people are coming back. Like you get extra points and then they die and they come back. That's not real life. You don't come back, and they don't understand the consequences and repercussions behind when you pick these guns up and you pull the trigger. They're not coming back. We're losing two families, the one that you've just killed and the one that did the killing, the shooting, because now you're going to prison and now you're going to be taken away from your family. So we're losing two families, not one. And people have to understand those are the things that they're seeing. Those are the things that they're learning. Those are the things that they're doing. And until you intervene, or until you, like you said, a lot of us don't listen to the lyrics. We listen to the beat. We get caught up in the beat. If the beat of a song is good, we're not listening to we don't know what they're saying. I'm 9 months away from 50, and I know that I'm a little bit younger, but I can't even understand what they're saying half the time. So I might get caught up in the beat too. But you have to make sure that I don't care if you YouTube it and you know how you watch the words come across the screen, you need to read some of that stuff that you are listening to.
But see, the beauty of it is, and I love technology. Now in Google, just like you said, just like you can put in at the top lyrics and it'll bring up the lyrics. You don't have to, you could just put in a song and read the lyrics yourself and say, is that something that I want in the spirit of my child?
Exactly.
Because back in the day, I was thinking about this. Back in the day, I would listen to a song like Olivia. If you listen to the lyrics of it, Olivia was a street walker. Or you think about, there was a song called White Line. White Line was talking about cocaine.
Cocaine. Oh, wow.
But see, now back in the day, they would say those lyrics, I didn't become a street walker. I didn't do drugs. But see, now, because society is moving at such a rapid pace, technology and all of these influences is coming into the head, kids are reacting differently from the lyrics than back in the day.
I was gonna say, you know how we used to have the parental guidance even on the cable channels? They have parental guidance on these phones, on these computers, but parents, either they don't know about it and they're not using it, and they're just allowing their kids to just free willy, through YouTubes and everything else. And you got to get involved.
Let me say this to you. Parental guidance, if you look at what it started to be, it was, and whoever fought for that, it was really, and I know that it was a lot of challenges. They didn't want that. I can tell you today, it is a joke because I personally do not do profanity and I like very family oriented films. It's very few family oriented films. It will say 13 plus and the stuff that's 13 plus.
Yes.
I won't even watch it. So, so even though what we're telling parents who's listening, even the rating is not the rating. It's almost like, because 2+ is, you look at commercials now, it's nothing but full-blown pornography. We have to be intentional about what we're letting in our own minds and in the minds of our children and our grandchildren, our nieces and nephews, because it is a war to, unfortunately, destroy the family and these children.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. And that's why I say we have to stay on top of things and put things in place and keep changing and putting more things in place. You've got to be on top of it. It's not the more that people keep laying back and allowing their kids to raise themselves and just different things to raise their children, like I said, the phones, the TVs and things like that, we're going to keep losing. Right. We're going to keep losing. You need to start having conversations, see what do they like. Let them start drawing or making their own songs or making their own YouTube channels on things that they may like to do. That's something positive. Everyone is born with a gift. I'm just that spiritual person. Everyone's born with a gift. Why not just try to start tapping into the gift? That's one of the things that we do in our mentoring group. Giving that time to find out exactly what is it that these young people like. And everybody's different. Be different and like it. But let's tap into it and then let's connect them and let's make it work. Because it's too much that saying that they have that idle time is the devil's workshop. If they are just sitting in their idle and they're just searching and finding things on their own, and they always want to belong. So they're wanting to belong. You better want them to belong in your family. And what I mean by your family, you don't want the streets to suck them up. If the streets are welcoming them with open arms, and that's where they're going if you don't pay attention.
Right. Someone's listening and they want an olive branch and they're saying, I really need help. You're talking to me. Maybe I don't know how to parent. And none of us want to admit that we don't know how to do something. So we're coming from total love because we want our babies to survive. We want our children to grow up to be productive citizens and that their mental wellness is intact. Someone's listening and they're saying, I need help. And we'll give this information at the end too. But someone is like, just tell me now, how can I reach out?
Please know this first. There is no perfect person. And we're all here to give each other tools for our toolboxes. And you should never be ashamed to want to learn and grow together. And that means learning something new every day. So if you need to reach out to Parents Against Bullying, just make sure you go to www.pabva.com, and you can simply hit the email button from there. Or if you would like to email us at p.a.b.virginia, spelled out, @gmail.com, or contact us by 757-329-2859. And all this is on our website at a touch button that you can do either of the three. Call us, email us, or what have you. And please don't hesitate to reach out. And I am in direct contact with anything that comes through that website. My team is always connecting me with it. And so I'm very hands-on. So please do not hesitate. No question is a crazy question. No question is a dumb question. I would rather for you to ask that and we save a life than you're feeling hopeless and we don't be able to save that life.
There are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
Well, believe it or not, even though we're talking about social media and some, I don't want to say negative, but it could be a positive thing. And I say that because whoever came up with the Instagram and the Facebooks, I take my hat off to them because that's a platform that, such as my organization and other organizations that want to get out good information or positive or encouragement, we're able to go on to those platforms and reach people that we may never see in our lives. So I admire that because of the fact that they're able to reach millions and millions and millions that you don't have to contact one-on-one, but they're able to see that content or what have you. So I admire that. And that's why I want my organization to grow millions and millions. And we're able to just reach out by a click of the button and it's just out there and they're able to be encouraged or get information or connections. That is an admiring part that I love to talk about in the positive way of a social media platform.
Right. And I said this at the top of the hour. I absolutely love technology, and technology can be your best friend or it could be your enemy. It's a tool. It's a resource, and it's how you utilize that tool or resource in reference to your life. And that's what we want to express, is about using it in a way that's going to be beneficial and not detrimental.
Absolutely.
What is your zone of genius?
My superpower, I feel like, is my discernment and being able to kind of feel what someone needs, and being able to talk to them and connect with people. I feel like that's my superpower. My superpower is my connection of communication. And believe it or not, I'm a 4-year, just 2 weeks ago, head and neck cancer survivor. And they thought I wasn't going to be able to talk anymore because it was near my voice box. And I know that it's my superpower because God allowed me to still be able to sit here and talk to you today. So yes, ma'am, I feel like that's my superpower, listening ear and my mouth to be able to speak, because sometimes you have to listen before you speak. So yes, ma'am.
And you know what we say, that's why God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, because you listen twice as much as you speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about raising capital to start the nonprofit. How did you raise capital to start the nonprofit?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I didn't have anything. I really did have to start by asking for help. And I didn't even have a 501c3 at the time. I just reached out to, for instance, Pepsi, and I said, I need some drinks. Can you help me with some drinks? This is what I would like to do. Then I called someone else, a family member, said, can you get the hot dogs, to do an event or what have you. And it was all about connecting from the resources that I had already had, because I was a salon owner for 10 years and I utilized who I knew to get certain things done. And once I sold my salon, because I forgot to mention that my daughter was having seizures from her attack. She was seizure free for 3 years before the attack. After the attack, my daughter was having seizures 5 out of 7 days. So I had to make the choice of being mommy or continue with my salon because I love to give 110 to my clients and I wasn't able to. So I chose mommy. And when I did that and I sold my salon, almost every penny that I got from selling it, I put right back into my nonprofit to where I almost lost everything. And I'm okay with transparently saying that because that was the test to this testimony that I'm able to sit here and talk to you about now. But that was what I used as my startup. Resources and the little bit that I had from selling my business. It's hard. It looks easy. We make it look easy when it's your calling, when it's your assignment, as I call it, but it's not easy. But I want people to know out there, it can be done, but you gotta push in the right direction.
And when you talk about that moment where you almost lost everything, what was that pivotal moment when you knew that you were going to be successful?
I got a call right when I felt like, I wanted to throw in the towel. Sometimes you want to throw in the towel so many times. I got a call that a Parks and Recs had a kickball event and they chose Parents Against Bullying as the organization they wanted to donate to. And from there, they raised almost $8,000. And that was something that I was not even looking for because I had no clue that they had chosen us. But that's what it means by your name being in rooms that you may never have to walk into. That's when I knew that this was me being obedient and that God saved my daughter for a reason. And I was not being selfish because it wasn't about my kids anymore. It was about helping others to not feel like my kids and myself felt. So I knew then that God's hands were still all over it. And that was the moment when the door started opening for me and my organization.
That's an amazing story. Talk about your top 2 influencers, mentors, however you define it, and what lessons did they teach you?
Can I tell you about one that I've never met and I pray that I meet one day that really inspired me when I was at my lowest, going through the change of the salon owner to the CEO of Parents Against Bullying, and that is Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry shared his story some years ago, and I know he continues to share it about how he put in everything that he had to keep doing his plays, and no one would show up. And all of a sudden, he was homeless and, eating off one pack of cookies for a week or two, or, I can't remember the exact, but that's a little bit of that I can remember what he was talking about with that. But now to see him as he did not give up and he kept the faith and kept the hope and kept doing what his dream was, even though this wasn't a dream of mine, but I know that it was something that I needed to do. It was an assignment of mine. And I kept watching him grow and grow and grow. And to see who he is now today, that's one of the persons that is a mentor. He doesn't even know it. And he was one that made me stick to it and it gave me hope that, I can do this nonprofit. I can do this. And the other one is former First Lady Michelle Obama. I never met her either, but I got a letter from her about being what we were doing in the community and being a CEO of this anti-bullying nonprofit and how she thanked us for what we were doing in the community. And her signature was on it. It wasn't a stamp, but it was her signature. So, and watching her through the times and still watching her now as she is an advocate for certain things and how she stands boldly and never swift or swivels no matter what comes her way from what I can see. And so those 2 are ones I've never met before. And then I have just one more that is one person that I met. And he was a reporter that has been following and doing reports on us for the last 12 years. And he's an older gentleman. And Mr. Addison has taken me under his wing because he has a nonprofit himself and he deals with the same type of population. And he's given me tools after tools after tools. And he lifts me up when he knows I'm down, even when he don't know I'm down. And that is one person that I am very grateful that I have got to know along this journey.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not, and they've inspired you so much. Mm-hmm. Who is that person and what are you saying?
It's to my grandparents, the late Paul and Olivia Miller. Got tears coming. They laid a foundation that was so strong, and they never ever gave up hope, and they always breathed life into me daily as a child and as an adult until they took their last breath. They will always encourage me to just keep going no matter what. And I would tell them, thank you. Thank you for all that they sacrificed, all that they did, because they were community people as well, advocates as well, and did same type of role, just in different positions. And I'm just grateful to them. And I thank them for teaching me all that they taught me and taught me how to have a voice, how to stand my ground and push for excellence, no matter what. Accept new learning experiences, never get too high to where I couldn't learn, still be teachable. So I thank them for that. I thank them every day, and I hope that I made them proud.
Talk about mental wellness and entrepreneurship.
Please make sure that you take care of your mental first, because if you don't, it starts at your head. If your head is not right, then nothing else is going to work, right? So you have to take that self-care. You have to talk with someone if you need to. Don't be afraid to talk with someone. And, being an entrepreneur, especially in my role, I hear so much. So I don't want to carry those things onto my personal life or my daily life. I want to be able to listen, let out what I need to let out, talk about some of the things that may have kind of bothered me or what have you, and get that sound opinion of letting me know what to do to be okay again, so I can go for the next 1,000 people that I may encounter. So don't be afraid, because in our culture, it's always been that thing of being afraid to speak to a counselor or be in counseling, like it was the bad word. No, it's not. Please make sure that you take care of your mental. Your mental is very, very, very important. And in order to do what we do, whether you are an entrepreneur digging yards or whatever, and you hear people just complain about their yards, you want to make sure that you're getting what you need, filling your cup back up so that you can continue to fill others and fill yourself.
Shant'a, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
I would tell my younger self that there's going to be some days that you're going to feel like this is the worst. This can't be life. But just know that the things that your grandparents and your mom told you, that, there's going to be storms, and that, when you plant a seed, even in real life, a seed has to die first and weather the storm. And then it grows into be, whether that's going to be a fruit, a flower, a beautiful flower, or whatever, it's still going to be something that we need. And that's going to be useful, whether it's for the eye or for the body, meaning to eat, if it was a fruit. And just continue to weather the storm, because you're going to grow into just what you're needed to be. And it's going to be beautiful no matter what.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your favorite comfort food?
Chick-fil-A.
The last movie you saw?
Color Purple.
You relax doing what?
Listening to gospel.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Fantasia.
Your favorite dance song?
It's a line dance. Pass.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Oranges.
Workout or hit the couch?
Workout.
Shant'a Miller White, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you. Feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Yes, ma'am. The best way to connect with me is to please visit both of my websites. The first one is www.pabva.com, and the other one is www.shantanicole.com. And I'm on social media, Facebook as Parents Against Bullying VA or Shant'a Miller White, and on IG, Instagram, I am Parents Against Bullying VA or Shant'a Nicole _.
Thank you, Shant'a. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.